Ekobe. He is a senior program officer at Clean Foundation, where he works on promoting transparency and accountability in governance. Now, with his expertise now in open government principles and community safety, Bernard will share insights on how citizens can be empowered to build safer communities. Now, the topic of empowering citizens for safer communities through open government principles is very crucial in today's world. Welcome aboard, Bernard Ekobe.
Thank you, and good morning. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Right, awesome. Well, it feels good to have you here of the Clean Foundation to have this conversation with us, especially in a time like this where there has been the increasing demand for transparency and accountability in governance. It is quite essential for us to look into ways in which the citizens can be empowered, and the citizens can also participate in the decision-making forum or fora, where they can also hold leaders accountable. Right now, can you explain the concept of the open government principles and its relevance to building safer communities, though?
Okay, once again, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the sponsors of this program and the OGP especially.
Right.
The concept of the open government partnership, it's a long-standing concept. And the idea of a social contract or democracy, so to say, is that the sovereign, some parts of the people decide to relinquish some certain amount of their powers to a Leviathan called the government, to actually take care and run its day-to-day activity. That being said, it means that if I have relinquished some of my powers to you, it means it doesn't mean that you will do that solely on your own. It means that for you to take decisions, I should be carried along.
That's right.
So it's a form of partnership between government and the people, making it entire a whole of government approach. Because there's this popular saying that there is no you without me and there's no me without you.
Right.
And if you go to the streets today and ask who is the people or who is government, and you would say the people, because the people actually make up the government. The government is not up to 1% of the entire population. So if we recognize that fact, we also recognize the fact that the generator of the populace is the government. So for us to have a day-to-day activities as a people, as a nation, they have to be this marriage between the people and the government. So the open government partnership based itself on 5 major principles, which is transparency, accountability, public participation, inclusiveness and equity, and also the tech and innovations. And in this 5 sphere, it aims to see how citizens participate fully, how citizens are able to be carried along in throughout this 5 sphere. When you talk about transparency, you're talking about citizens' rights, how citizens have access to information on government. Can citizens have ask questions about government using various means and get a response? You're talking about accountability, and if we both agree that we make up the government and the government are answerable to us, it shows that we are they are also accountable to us. So if you're given an office to hold, for me, it means that when I ask you what did you do with that office at the tail end, you should be able to give me a response to that. So accountability in the broader sense of officials and governments are answerable for their actions, while public participation in the sense that citizens are carried along across all fair, be it the budget making, policy making, whatever angle you tend to look at it, citizens are consulted. So if you want to actually put a bridge over my community, citizens should be able to say, this bridge should be in this design. Did you carry me along? If I want a walkway, and a lot of times a simple one would be, most people ask, why is that the pedestrian bridges are far away from the actual bus stops? And you would ask, were citizens consulted when they want to construct that pedestrian bridges? And it begs to question why people do not also use that. Talk about inclusiveness and equity, the entire spectrum of the society. How are they carried along? Talking about women, marginalized groups, persons with disabilities. How are they carried along? And how we always pride ourselves that we are a technological innovative country and we are advancing
Right.
technologically. And how has this entire process managed to be fused into the entire government process?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned, I mean, you've touched on all of the areas, even though it's in bits and pieces. But there's one question that a Nigerian listening, a family member listening now would want to put out. How can I be empowered to participate in the decision-making process and to hold these same leaders accountable? I mean, yes, there is a place of transparency. Yes, there is a place of accountability. Yes, there is a need for consultation. But when all of these are also put there, or they're not, how can I, or do you think I, as a citizen, do I even have the power? Do I have the means? Do I have the sovereignty to be able to hold these officials accountable?
So that's the beauty of democracy. There's this popular saying again during the military regime that freedom of speech is guaranteed, but freedom after speech isn't
not.
absolute and is not guaranteed.
Right.
But again, in the popular parlance, that in human rights, that where your right stops is where another person's own begins. So a lot of persons would see themselves as, would popularly say, an ordinary Nigerian. There is no ordinariness in a Nigerian.
So, well, how should we call ourselves if we're in a state of stupor, in a state of going through different types of hardship and reality?
So I think first of all, the first thing to do is a change of mentality and orientation. An American will proudly say, I am an American.
Okay.
Why? Why can't you proudly say I am a Nigerian? A lot of persons will say, okay, I'm actually Nigerian. I did not, because you do not feel valued. But if you yourself do not value yourself as a Nigerian, how do you expect others to value you? So yes, at every point in time, we as citizens have a role to play in government, be it public participation. And a quick one would be, even if it's a lot of persons will say it's for the cameras, that the public constitutional review, the public what is it called again? Public address, where people go out and tender what they want to see in the constitution that is truly Nigerian.
Okay.
A lot of persons would say it's just for the cameras. But apart from that, that is one method we can actually impute. I train people on administration of criminal justice law, which is supposed to be domesticated in various states.
Right.
And the first thing I ask some of these state officials from the Ministry of Justice who are studied with responsibility of doing this law is, first of all, did you actually read these laws that you're putting in the state? Because many a times we just take from federal and put in our states. Did you consider the peculiarities of your state? Your states carried along. What is the context of your state? For you to now say, this is not applicable, we cannot do this in the state. And I say, you have already put it into law. The governor have signed into it. At what point in time did you call the stakeholders? Who are the citizens you are representing? So it's okay, this law is supposed to take care of about all of us. Take it out there, scrutinize it, read it, and go through it and give us your feedback. But most times we feel that we are ordinary Nigerians.
So you believe that the states have a right to also look into the laws to fit them?
It goes both ways.
Okay.
So you do not just make laws on your own, because you have to have public feedback in those laws and the entire legislative process. And if that is the entire legislative process, when citizens are called to put in their full feedback in those laws, how serious do we take them? Because that is one avenue we can actually bring in or talk about participation. You can rightfully say that I made this observation when this law was brought to be. But most times, as citizens, we are relegated with our own mindset that our voice does not count. But it's not true. It's not entirely true. It's because we've had this mindset, and the government, in the other hand, we continue rolling up with this entire mindset to say, okay, because they know we would not come. But if you open up the phone lines now and you say people to comment on a particular thing, that's a feedback mechanism.
Right.
People are listening. But because, again, your callers will say, we are just saying on radio. Nobody, after all, will talk finish, everybody go. Nobody go hear us. But there are government officials who I know are tuned into Eagles 102.3
Right.
daily. and you never can tell where your feedback and who is listening, and where those comments will go in the long run. So citizens should not just relegate themselves to the back seat. They are image makers. There's the policy or the laws we are making, totally, it's for the people. And if you are not part of that entire process, then how come would you say that that law is truly yours? And that's where we now have issues about policy implementation, and so forth and so on. So citizens have a major role to play, be it wherever sphere they find themselves.
All right, citizens have a major role to play, but what are some effective ways to build safer communities, and how can citizens contribute to this effort? But beyond that, you are of the Clean Foundations, right? Now, can you tell us about Clean Foundation's work in promoting open government principles and community safety?
Okay, Clean is an organization that
sorry, just before you go ahead, is Clean an abbreviation?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Clean stands for Center for Law Enforcement Education in Nigeria.
Oh, Center for Law Enforcement Education in Nigeria.
Yes.
Clean.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got that now.
We are that clean.
Thank you.
And so it's an organization that has been formed for over 3 decades now.
Okay.
We should be about 27, 28 years old.
Okay.
And so it's been in this business for a very long time, centered on public safety, security, and justice sector reform. And so if you look at these 3 arms, it also talks about citizen participation. You cannot talk about security without the citizens being part of it. You cannot talk about the justice sector reform without the citizens part of it. Public safety, again, is for who? For the citizens.
Right.
So basically, all we do have a citizen-centric approach towards it. We always pride ourselves with something. We say we are always at the supply side of government. And what does it mean to be on the supply side? And so, yes, there are various forms to reforms. But we focus on research. So what we do is we carry out very interesting research about issues of intervention. When we get our findings, we draw programmatic areas around it, and we go to this policymaker, to government, to say, okay, these are the areas you are lacking, and that's where participation comes in.
Right.
This is where we think, or where the people say there's gap in your policies. Yes, this is our areas we think you need to improve. And with that concrete research, then they can now see from our side of it, because it's evidence-based, that there's a gap here, and we are trying to fill in those gaps. So we're saying, okay, where can we come in to make sure that these gaps are covered? And so most times people will say, because we work a lot with security agencies, and they say, Clean, with security people, you people are one. Why? Because you will not see us on the streets always hitting them. You people have done this, you people have done that. Yes, we do that. But we do that in closed doors, with evidence, with research, to say, okay, you have failed in this angle, but this is where you think you can improve on, and this is how we can help you improve. Then with a collaboration with those security agencies, we can now forge a greater way forward. We've done this in areas of Stop the Bribe. We have a popular website called www.stopthebribe.net, where citizens report issues of corruption, bribery against the Nigerian police force.
Okay,
and we take it up.
you might want to take that website again, because I'm sure a family member is really interested in this. What did you call that website?
Stopthebribe.net.
Stop the Bribe. Stop it. Like stopthebribe.net. Right?
Yes.
Information is vital.
So, increasing that, because of that intervention, again, the police went ahead, and we now have what they call the CRU, the Complaints Response Unit of the Nigerian Police Force, which also takes complaints again from the Nigerian populace, meaning that the citizens' participation in policies are very important again. So, Clean, again, had done what we call the Human Rights Management Information System, HRMIS, which, again, is a website that is that cuts across every space. We deploy this website to say, okay, if you have issues on human rights violations, what we try to do is, we know there's a problem of collation, and so we collate across board. We have at the back end, we have various agencies, the National Human Rights Commission, the police, various agencies at the back end that sees this. What again we've tried to do is quarterly, we've made an avenue for them to sit down and discuss issues that had to do with human rights, because we believe that that's our own form of participation. We have carried them along. When it comes to transparency and access to information, Clean again was at the forefront of advocating for the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015. The Police Act also, the police regulations, a lot of laws over the years. Clean had been in the forefront championing for these laws. So we again have went further to say, okay, we have in various states what is called CSOs observatory, and in some states, state level monitoring committees to monitor the implementation of these laws. They are not there to actually give a backlash to these agencies, but they are just also monitor the process and give feedbacks to communities. In Edo, we had rallies around the ACJA to say, okay, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. That is bringing access to information to the people, and we've done that in several states.
So what challenge faced? I mean, there are no challenges. It's been El Dorado. It's been smooth. It's been perfect.
Of course, there are challenges, as it is with any intervention
Right.
in society, and so there's perfect law. But again, one of the major challenges we faced is the citizens' docile nature. A lot of citizens, like I said earlier on, feel that if there's this what the Nigerianness in them, in the sense to say that they do not feel that it is a shared vision, it is a shared dream, it is a shared aspiration. So when
But would you blame Nigerians to feel that way? I mean, especially if they are also being dealt the tough blow that makes them feel as though they are still outsiders. And that's the point, and I guess that's why we're having this conversation, right? So there's somebody who listens now would not say, "Oh, they are condemning us. They are saying that we are the problem. It's not the government. Everything is the people that is the problem," right? Because there are some people who feel that way. Like they feel as though they've been thrown out. You know, so
I get your point.
and they need to be brought back.
So it goes both ways.
So it's both ways.
It's
now.
both ways. Let me
All
give you
right.
a clear example.
Right.
We monitored the $311.8 million Abacha loot,
Yeah.
which was used to build 3 legacy projects. That's one form again. And because it was a government CSO partnership to monitor those projects. And we found out that just at the completion of the second Niger bridge, when we went back there to monitor, all the manhole covers were stolen.
All of it
All of it was stolen.
by the citizens.
So at one point in time, the citizens believe that it is a shared vision. At what point in time do we not? So if the government as a whole, the elite as a whole says you're not a citizens, we ourselves, do we see ourselves as citizens? We should be ones to tell them no, we brought you there. But once we are relaxed and say, and they come up with those policies and we're not questioning them, again, we have, for example, the president just gave the prerogative of mercy a pardon,
Yeah, exactly.
and quickly as clean, we wrote and said, okay, can you give us the perimeters you used to give this certain person's pardon? It is us wanting for information. It is not left for the government, because we asked. If we say, okay, we relax and say, okay, the government are giving who they want to give pardon, they can do whatever they want to do. At that point in time, where do we engage them? How do they know that there are people and their citizens there actually watching? How do we hold them accountable? So it's our own form saying we are accountable to say you have to be accountable to the Nigerian people. If you've granted pardon, how did you arrive at this pardon you have granted? What were your parameters? What stick did you use? Remember, one of the key pillars of OGP is accountability.
Right.
And so, because it was a shared vision that you went to court, the entire process was done, and these persons were said to be criminals, and they were incarcerated. Then, if you had to grant pardon, you owe us accountability to the people, and that had said, okay, this person has been found wanting of short of law and has been sentenced to jail. So you owe to us, if you have granted pardon, what stick did you use to actually grant this person pardon? So if a lot of citizens, most times, and take it anywhere, even in the US, there are a lot of people that do not agree with what Trump is doing.
Right.
But that does not mean that they will not speak up. That does not mean that they will not demand for accountability. That does not mean that when they call for a citizen review process, for citizens to be part of conversations, that they will not attend. Instead, they would attend, but they will make sure they air their views. And that's what we're saying. Because you never can tell at what point that those little views you've aired will be taken.
All right. Now let's look into the place of technology. How well is technology playing a role to leveraging and promoting transparency and accountability in governance? And that is on the one part, right? And then, of course, how can open data be used to promote transparency and accountability in governance?
That's a very strong one, the open data one,
Yeah.
because now we are moving beyond saying, oh, if you need something, use the FOI.
Yeah.
We are asking that we do not need to ask. Put it out
It
there.
should just be there.
Let us be the ones
to go
to
and check,
demand.
to
And
demand.
you will agree with me that before now, you will go to government website, you would barely find anything. You would barely find anything. But let's use the EFCC for example. You could go to the EFCC website. It's not perfect. But with conversations, with advocacies, with systems like this, with what SEDAC is doing, with what the OGP is doing, you can now see that these agencies are finding it very, very interesting to put out their data. They are not waiting for CSOs to ask. They're not waiting for citizens anymore to ask. They are telling you that this is what we are doing. Coming out here, I was just by the lobby and I clicked my phone and I just saw, I had to share it in the office platform. I saw the CRE, Complaints Response Unit of the Nigerian Police, out there doing some form of, to use the word advert, to say, okay, we are in existing and we are working. We have report of 2022, we have report of 23, 24, and by the end of 25, we would also have reports. They are putting out their numbers, they're telling you we need to engage. Before now, you would not see the police telling you that we want to be accountable. They are not telling you that if a policeman faults, this is where to report him. They will not do that.
So you're saying that the 30 years of the clean, as well as keying into the OGP, is indeed bringing some gains.
We are not where we want to be, but we are not where we used to be.
Right.
We are gradually advancing, and if you would want to agree with me, it's data now. It's, yes, there are some informations that we would want to get that we still need to use the FOI.
Right.
But the first point of call would be, let's check their website if it's there. Before now, your first point of call is not check website because it is not there. You know for sure that it is not there.
Right.
It is, let us write to them. And who you're writing to, you do not know.
So,
you have the Savicom now.
Yeah.
Practically, yes, they are not as strong as we want them to be, but you can write to Savicom and they would respond to you. You can use the FOI Act, and of course, they would respond to you.
Okay, but now I mentioned the place of technology. Has technology really shown significant gains, in allowing for participation, allowing for ease between the government and the people? That's it.
Yeah. To a very large extent. Okay, I mentioned two websites now, which is also a form of technology.
Yeah.
You have. I read reports once from the police that jokingly they said they even receive more complaints online than physically.
Okay.
I mean, technology is being put to use. They call it the online police station, and so we see what citizens are doing with a lot of influencers, making use of the citizens. We saw the instance of where a citizen came out, took a photograph, and said this hospital does not have a lot of beds. People were sleeping on iron bed springs without the mattress, and saw what government put to action. We've seen again in instances of Lagos where potholes were snapped, and before we know it, the government. We've seen time and again where citizens have used technology to engage the government. The government is no longer saying that this is we are very remote, so you have to file a complaint, you have to write via paper. Online forms are being there. Basically every month the National Human Rights Commission releases human rights. There's a human rights dashboard that you will see the state of human rights affairs across the 36 states of the federation. These things are now out there. And so technology has played a good role. The presidency had come up with the CDRC unit, I think, if I get that acronym right, where they have managed to use technology to gauge the MDAs, where they are faring, monitor and evaluate MDAs and their responsibilities, what the ministers say they are going to do, how well they've done it so far, where they are with things, what is their challenges. These are some of the things that technology has managed to bring into our system today.
Right. Let's talk about collaboration and partnerships. Yeah. As collaboration and partnerships between government, civil society, and citizens promoted open government principles and community safety. Are there even such collaborations? And finally, what are some future directions for promoting open government partnerships and principles and community safety in Nigeria, as you...
So for collaboration, I think to a large extent that has improved, even within government agencies, within the civil society space, even within citizens. We've seen a lot of citizens collaborate now to hold government to account. For citizens government collaboration, I'll give you one example of what we're doing. We are doing what is called a community dialogue. So we go to some of these communities, community security dialogue.
Yeah.
We bring the commissioner of police in the state to a community, and I'll call the community out and say, okay, come and speak to your commissioner. What are the issues you think you're having? Again, we know that technology has its limitations, and there are things that have to do with these facial visits, and you see the expressions, you see their commitment, they're giving you their commitment not online, but you're saying them facially. And we've seen instances where police commissioners in the states, in a sitting, will say no, direct appear to say, okay, give these people my number. One popular question that comes with security agencies is that, okay, is bail truly free?
That's right.
And we've had security, the CPs in various states come out to say, bail is free. Anyone that asks you to pay a dime, this is my contact. Hardly you see, before now, do you know your commissioner of police? Some people stay their lifetime never seeing the commissioner of police in their states. So this is we, as CLEAN, bringing the government to the people to say, let us dialogue. That's collaboration.
Right.
This is them saying, okay, this is what we want from you. This is avenues that you can give us security information. Because before now, one of the greatest challenges we are having in our security architecture is issues around early warning and early response, because there was a breach. But now you could see there's this gap. We now act more on intelligence. Before now, you would say that citizens are scared to give out information. But that bridge gradually has been built. Collaborations between civil societies and various government officials have also encouraged. The OGP is a clear example. We have a government co-chair. I don't know if his tenure has finished also, and with the civil society co-chair. This is government committing to working with civil society together. And so that's